Hi everyone, if you're watching a recording, we are starting about 3 minutes early, so do fast forward if you're watching that recording. Wow! And that's what happens when we sort of don't prep ahead of time. Yeah. Yoips. Wait, we'll do this. Okay. I know. Amateurs. Total amateurs here. Let's see. And my earbud won't stay in today. It still says waiting for stream. Hasn't started yet. Are you seeing anything? Oh, there we go. Which one? Which Facebook? Okay. All right, so I'm being reported that Facebook is coming up, and so we're going to start here in about 2 minutes. Again, if you're watching a recording, do fast forward. Okay. Sort of still prepping a little bit and screwing around. Because that's what we do. Screw around all day long. Sandpaper. Got you. Okay, that's ready. That's ready. We have wire. All right. I'm ready. Oh, I need this day to sort of get moving. You know, I always feel like my day doesn't start until this is done and over. I feel like I can't get anything done until this is wiped off my slate. So just sort of fun here. Okay, so Andy reports that all my links are up and everything is happening accordingly, which is good, right? And we're going to start here in 1 minute. It's only 12:59. We always start at 1 o'clock. By the way, for those of you who are jumping in on my Facebook page over at QFOM Gray, you know, do join me over at Q Talk. It's my Facebook group. That's where I post all the information on classes and things and all that good stuff. So, Happy New Year, Mohsen, from India. It's been a while. I hope you're doing well over there. It's so much fun when I see people chiming in from outside the country, because in my little head, this is only in the US, but it's not. So it's really exciting. Anyway, so here we are. It's 1 o'clock. Let's get started. This is Q Talk Live. If you're watching on any of the other channels, I am actually simulcasting on 4 channels today: YouTube, Twitch, and 2 Facebook pages. So again, Q Talk with the letter Q Talk. Join me over there if you want to find out more about classes and everything that I'm doing on a weekly basis, week 42 to be exact. And then on my personal Facebook page. It took a little while to finally figure out how to get that on there, but hey, we're there and we'd love to see you over at the Q Talk page. Again, I don't like to bombard my personal page with shall we call it business? Anyway, so Happy New Year. It is the first one of the year, and this is just totally exciting to start a new year, as much as everybody is glad to see the old year go. You know, it's just 1 year closer to being older. That's how I see it. But anyway, so that's the fun stuff. So much going on this year. If you go to qfomgray.com, you'll find that I have a schedule. Don't know what's going to happen with that schedule, but I have a schedule and I have events all over the country, actually, planned for basically mostly the latter half of the year. We're still pushing out a little bit further. First one is in the spring, but we don't know how that's going to go. But most of the in-person events are happening towards the fall, past summer. Okay, so maybe we'll see you there. Maybe we won't. We don't know. But fingers crossed that things will start happening again. So with some great news here. Great news, metal immersions next week. Yay! You know, we're all excited about that. Unfortunately, we're going virtual with it, but it is what it is, and at least it's still going, and we are going to have a great weekend. What is happening today? Today is, I believe, the third project / sixth project, because they're all made of 2 projects in the hot and cold series that I started I guess 5 weeks ago at this point, or 6 weeks ago. And they are all complementary projects to my book, Hot and Cold Jewelry Connections, where all the projects are sister projects. So if you'll notice, they're very similar in projects, but one is hot and one is cold. And that's the whole point, is to show everybody different ways of approaching projects and how to accomplish a certain look without all the crazy tools if you do it with cold. But then, hey, you know, you have a lot of different ideas, and it's nice to have an arsenal of techniques under your belt, so that you know how to approach it. And sometimes, you know what, it's okay to approach a project with both hot and cold techniques, because it's all about the outcome. If it gets you to where you want to be and where your vision is, then it is a success, right? So you should be using all of these techniques. Anyway, so today's project is called Studly. It is going to be this ring here. You see there's studs on both sides. And last week its sister project was this one. I know you're like, it's not that similar, but this is the best I could come up with. However, I decided today that this is such a simple project. I'm actually going to make this cold project into a hot project, and I'm also going to show you how to make this hot project into a cold project. So let's get started. Here's all the tools that you're going to need today. Of course, you're going to need because it's a hot project, you're going to need a soldering setup, and that includes the torch, some pickle, and of course something to fire on, and some fire tweezers. You're going to need a bench block today. We're making a ring, so of course a ring mandrel is important. A pair of fine tweezers will be your friend, but you can definitely, if you don't have any tweezers, you can definitely use a pair of pliers. But trust me, tweezers are an inexpensive tool to acquire that makes your life a lot easier. You're going to need a center punch because we'll be drilling holes today, a chasing hammer, a file, a large one because, you know, we're going to be filing a lot, so the small one's going to be tough, a leather mallet to do some shaping with, heavy-duty cutters. If you don't have heavy-duty cutters, you're going to have to pull out your jeweler's saw. That, for me, is just annoying when I have a nice pair of Kiba cutters that will cut through 10-gauge wire. Okay, and then for materials, you're going to need some silver wire. Fine silver is preferred on this one, but you can use sterling, and I'll explain that in a little bit. And then some 10-gauge copper wire. The the silver wire is going to be 20 gauge today, okay? You can use 18 too, but I'll explain why we're using 20 in just a little bit. So let's put this away and jump right in. So first things first, we're going to make a, oh, I forgot, you're going to need a flex shaft too because we're drilling holes. Or a pin vise if you don't have a flex shaft, and it'll just take you a lot longer to do it, but it's very doable. Okay, so here we're just going to make a ring. We're taking out that 10-gauge copper wire, and we're just going to put it around a ring shank. Actually, for me, it's easiest to just put it around and bend it. If you cannot do this, put your wire into a forming block and shape it around like so, okay? So then I'm just going to bypass it like that, and I'm going to push it down. Now, when I make a ring, I always make it a size smaller than I want it to be because it always has a tendency to grow. So here I'm at a 6, and I'm just going to push it down because what happens when I'm pushing it down is it's conforming to the ring mandrel. And we're going to push it down here like so. And then we're going to trim it. It's up to you if you want to mark it, or you can eyeball that. But I'll go ahead and mark it so you can see. Like so. Okay. And again, today, the project's really simple. We're just making a band. Put that away. Take out those nice heavy-duty Kiba cutters. All of these items, by the way, can be found on the Urban Beater website. Andy is posting it in the comments if you're looking for links, because things have changed and I can't put it in the description until after we are done. And then I have a tendency to forget to do that too. So I know, not necessarily helpful, but Andy's going to try to help me out. And for everybody who's joining me for the first time, Andy is in my ear telling me all your questions. So if you do have questions, share them with me so that I can get you through this project. You know, the other thing too we discovered, let's see, what was it, last Wednesday, is that when you ask questions, it actually it's helpful to everybody else. It's not just me that it's helpful for, but it's helpful to everyone else too, because you know what, a lot of times all this stuff, it's in my head, and it doesn't necessarily come out verbally or out loud because I'm just so used to doing it that I forget that other people have not done it before, and it's a question that you might have. So asking questions is also helpful for everyone else too. And you know what, honestly, comments is always helpful to to the algorithm. That's what we're here for. So now that I've cut it, I've trimmed it, and I have filed it to create a flush end. Actually, it's not so flush. I'm gonna file that just a little bit more, like so, because I want to take off any burrs that I have, like so. And I'm just gonna work the ends together until they are very nice. All right, let's go ahead and zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. You can see that there's a gap there. And I'm going to put it into my nylon nose pliers because I don't want to mar anything, and I'm going to press this down. That's the easiest way to get this together. Look how much tighter that got, right? Let's do that a little bit more. I might need a little bit more filing here. Let's see. Just like so. It's nice and tight now. So you want to do it until you don't really see a gap anymore. And you can see, actually now that I've magnified so much, you can see that my wire is slightly up and off. So I'm going to, with my hands, if again you don't have any hand strength, you'll use your pliers. You see how much straighter that is? Yeah, see? So we're just going to solder that. Okay. I can play with this all day, but you get the point, and that's what's important. Just as long as you get the point, we're going to solder this with a little bit of copper solder paste because that's what I like to use. You know, I'm still off. Sorry, I'm still playing with this. It's a thing. I can't help myself. All right, let's go ahead and solder that. So just a little bit of copper solder paste will do you. You don't want to get too crazy with it because it's just that much more cleanup in the end. And you'll see that here. See, just a teeny weeny little bit, right? And we'll put that right on. So today we're doing something slightly different. I have pulled out my Gentec, my Gentec torch instead of my butane torch. Of course, you can do this with the butane torch, this part of it, but the next part, not so much. Okay, so here, and we do have these on our website, but it is it's a special order, okay, if you're interested. So we're gonna get that soldered together nicely, great, just like so. And what's nice about these torches, the one that we have on our website, you don't have to get into those crazy large oxygen tanks or gas tanks. You can just use a propane tank, this little cylinders that you buy at Home Depot. So it makes it a lot, I don't know, I guess I'm going to say palatable, because a lot of people are really worried about having those large tanks in their homes, and some places you just aren't allowed to have it. So it makes it nice and accessible now. Okay, so I'm putting this back in so that I can round it up. You can see there's some gaps in there. Okay. And making sure it's nice and round, like so. Put this on here and flatten it out. And I'm going to stick this in the pickle that's on the side here, and we'll leave that there for a second, okay? Put some stuff away. Now you'll need a bench block, and you're going to need a chasing hammer. Because what we're going to do next is we're going to create some space so that we can drill the holes. It's really tough to drill into a round into a round wire. So we're going to go ahead and flatten that once it comes out of the pickle, right? So I'm pretty excited. Over the holiday weekend, I've been working on February and March. I know. We just crossed over January, and this crazy chica is talking about February and March. This is how, I've been trying so hard for all these months to stay ahead. I'm finally ahead, and we're going to move on from, okay, so I'm not quite pickled. I'm going to throw it back in real quick here. So we're going to move on to enamel after this hot and cold thing. It didn't take very long for me to get bored here. We have one more project with hot and cold, and that's the tuxedo project coming up next week and the following week. It's called tuxedo because I think that looks like a tuxedo. Anyway, so this was hot, and believe it or not, this is cold. So that's coming up in the next couple weeks, and then we're going to move on to enameling. So get ready for enameling. We have all of those supplies on the website, and I've had several requests to do kits, unlike I did for the hot and cold. Let's be honest, I was flying by the seat of my pants with hot and cold, didn't know what I was doing, didn't plan that early to put together kits. But for the enamel, I will have some kits available so that you can just follow along more easily. All right. So here we are. It's been pickled. I dried it off. I'm going to hammer about 1/3 of this ring. And we wanted about half the thickness of what you started off with. Okay. Nice and flat. You can see it's about half the thickness. I'm going to do a little bit more here. Okay, so you can eyeball the following step, or you can make marks so that you know where you're going. Let's zoom in. So here, you can do as many as you'd like, but I would work in odds, okay? So I'm going to do 3. You can do 5, but I don't know if you guys want to sit here watching me drill all day, but there's 1, 2, 3. Just enough space, space between it for the drill bit. And we are using a number 60 drill bit today because I'm using 20 gauge wire. Okay, so here we'll take out our center punch, and we're going to center punch each one of these. Like so, on each one of those dots. And you can see that there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and change out my camera position here. Give me just a second. And let's see, where are we? I don't know why I'm struggling today. Where's my camera? Uh-oh, sorry. There it is. Okay. So here I'm on a board, a piece of scrap board. If you don't have a piece of scrap board and you don't have a bench that you can drill into like I do, then you can do this on your bench pin, of course, because that's what a bench pin is for, right? All right, so you're going to need a flex shaft. You're going to need some drill bits. Remember, you want to make sure that you have a high-speed drill bit, not a diamond-coated drill bit. That's bad. A little bit of cut lube will help. If you have oil of wintergreen, I said that. I actually like oil of wintergreen instead of cut lube as a lubricant for my drill bits. Why? Because it works well, it cools my metal, and it makes my my studio smell good. So that is a consideration. All right, so we'll go right in here and we're gonna drill it. Hello, why aren't you drilling? Okay, and you know what? The ring will get hot because you are drilling and causing a lot of friction. So I'm just gonna dip it in a little bit of water on the side to cool that off. And do it again. Drilling's not so good today. Some more cut lube. I don't know why, but this one doesn't want to drill. Give it a second here. I'm going to cool that off. Do it again. So weird. I'm sorry, Andy, can you say that again? Okay, so there was a comment made that oil wintergreen is flammable. Frankly, I haven't heard that, but I have heard that oil wintergreen is dangerous for the reason that if it gets into your eyes, it can burn. And the reality is, you shouldn't be putting your fingers in your eyes, and you should be wearing eye protection, is my argument on that. Flammable. Okay, so flammable, what, I guess my contention on that too is what would make it ignite? You have to give it an accelerant, right? I mean, not quite enough friction here, does it? I don't know. I'm gonna have to pull it out and see if I can, I'll pull it out and see if I can get it to light up. But it is an oil base, so, you know, all oils do burn, it's just what it is. All right, so I've got 3 little holes. There we go. And I'm going to switch out cameras one more time. Oops, there we are. Okay, so now you're going to cut little wires to go in here. And, oh, I'm going to go with about a 1/2 inch of wire. For each one of these. Okay, just like that. And we're going to make little ball pins. You can use sterling here, and here's the reason why. I had talked about this last week. Somebody had mentioned, you know, why would you not use sterling silver? And the thing is, mostly sterling silver, it creates sort of like a raisin granule instead of a smooth granule. But if you're using a high temp torch, you can get it to be smooth. It just takes a little bit of practice. However, it is a lot easier to use fine silver. So I'm just going to hold this right in front of the flame and make little tiny balls out of this on one side. Okay, so the drill bit size drill bit that I have is a 60. By the way, if you need a chart for the drill bit, it is on my on my personal website at qfarmgray.com. And it's under the blogs, okay? So I have all the charts up there for your reference. So I'm just making little tiny ball pins, like so. You can see that, okay? With the world's cutest little torch. And this is equivalent to the Smith Little for less money. Haha. I'm gonna make this a little tiny bit bigger. There you go. This one just a little bit bigger. So I'm not, you know, what's been really fun about doing these lives is that I've been making projects that I've been thinking about for a long time and haven't been able to bring it to fruition. So that's been really cool. And this is one of them. This one of the techniques that I've like had swimming around in my head. I've seen it around, and I really wanted to play with a design like this, and this has allowed me to do it. Okay, so you can see here my wires are a little bit not the same size. I'm going to fix that though, and I'm seeing that I have a little bit more wire than I want, so I'm actually going to go ahead and make these, instead of cutting them down, you can cut them down if you want, but I'm actually going to make these balls a tiny little bit bigger because I can. Okay. As you can see, just add more heat to make them bigger. Don't get too crazy about cutting it or anything like that. I don't like cutting. I prefer to do something like this. By the way, something that people don't talk about much is, you know what? When a flame looks like this and it doesn't have oxygen in it, it's not that hot, okay? So people always sort of freak out. I leave my torch on because I don't like to strike all the time. I find it somewhat annoying. So I actually leave it on like this, and I don't worry so much about burning myself. It's when you turn on the oxygen that you need to be afraid of that torch, because it gets really crazy hot, okay? So just brushing up against that when it's nice and bushy without the oxygen is fairly safe. I wouldn't be putting my hands under there for very long, or my hair, but okay, so there we go. Let's do this again. We're just inserting these ball pins like so. We're going to take out our cross-locking tweezers. Oops. You see that? And we're going to torch this puppy. All in one shot. Just like so. You know what? I need to move my cut loop out of the way so I don't melt it. You see that? Done. I missed the middle one. There we go. Done. Ha! Okay, so why don't I do this with a butane torch? Frankly, because a butane torch has such a large bushy flame on it, it just like kills the whole thing in one shot. Another thing too is you go into a wire that's a little bit heavier. I can't seem to get it to do it because it's not quite hot enough to get it there. You have a lot of heat sink happening everywhere else, but voila, how cool is that? Ring done. Throw this in the pickle. Throw this in the pickle, clean it up, and you are there. So I knew this was going to be a really, really, really simple project today, so we'll just do a little bit more. I'm going to take last week's project and do the same thing. So last week, if you recall, we made a ring shank, we hammered out the ends, we drilled it, and then we cut a tube that will go in between, right? So we're going to go like so. And I have a little bit of wire. We'll go ahead and ball that real quick. And it's a slightly different look, but it's fun. So you can see here, this one is actually sterling silver. You can see by the color. Maybe you can't because reflection there. But let's see, how do we want this? A little bit more. But it's all a matter of how you heat it. And see, I heated it just so it looks perfect. It doesn't look raisiny. However, with the butane torch, it's going to look a little bit like a raisin. It's a matter of heat. Yep. Okay, so we'll insert this in here, like so. We had already cut our tube, and let's see if we can get it through the other side. Voila, done deal. It's nice and tight. We'll hold it like so, and we'll torch the other side. Adjusting my heat. There it is. Done. Yeah, straighten that out just a little bit on this side. There you go. Aha! Cool, huh? All right, I'm gonna quench that, throw it in the pickle, and I'll show it to you here in a second. So then, of course, one more here. You can do this same project cold, of course, right? What would prevent you from doing it cold? Nothing. So I already have a ring prepped here. I drilled some holes, not great holes. You can see it's off, but some holes, so we'll go with it. We'll put this in here like so, and we'll trim that. You'll want a really nice flush cutter for this. And you'll cut it so that there's a about 1 millimeter of wire on each side. And we'll put that down like so. Take out our riveting hammer. And we're going to hammer directly on it. Okay, you can see that. And notice it's splaying out. Okay. Flip it over and hammer both sides. You can see that there. It's a different look altogether. It's a look. Do it again. So here I have a beveled edge, so I'm just going to trim it with my flush cutter so that I don't have to file it, but you can file it if you don't have a flush cutter. You want a really nice flat edge. So, and you want it to stand straight up and down. It was tilted over just a second ago and I just moved it up. I know it's so small, you probably really can't see this kind of thing. Let's see if I can get it in just a little bit tighter. Okay. If I can hammer it straight would be even better. And obviously I cannot. Nope. I'm not being a very good hammering person today. You can see my wire is already is crooked, but I'm going with it. And the thing is, I know why I'm struggling. I was screwing around with drilling this hole. It's not a great hole. It's a little bit too big for my wire, right? If it was the right size, like the one next to it, then it would hold it steady for me. But again, just for the sake of demo, I say just for the sake of demo, I'm gonna keep going, but no, it doesn't want to play, so I'm gonna do it again. So is everybody ready for a great year? I am. It's going to be good. Oops. Okay, I'm not cutting straight. You really need to cut straight. Would be most helpful. You know what? I'm just going to leave that one empty. I'm going to pickle that so that you can see what's going to happen here in a second. All right, let's pull it out of the pickle, the other pieces out, and see what we've got. Okay. Yay. So we'll do last piece first. There you have it. We have our granules on each side, or our balls, ball pins. We're just going to clean it up. Of course, you can go ahead and patina this if you like to. I don't think this piece in particular is good for patina. I don't know. I like it shiny, this one. Oh yeah, I could put a larger wire in the center hole. Good point, Debbie. Thank you. Okay. There we go. Okay, so you can see the difference between the cold one and the hot one with the balls on each side. It's slightly different. But again, you know, I've attempted to do this with a butane torch. I have not been successful. So doing it with this propane and oxygen torch works a lot better. So anyway, but you can try it and see what happens. It is a small investment in that this is mostly copper. I would not do a copper wire in here because you'll really struggle unless you've got that Gentec, right? Okay, so there's that first project. So here's there's the second project. Here's the first project. We'll clean that up. like so. And you'll see it. Okay, so I didn't make it particularly tight. I could go back, as you can see, it sort of wiggles, which is fine, it's fun, right? You can go back and torch it a little bit more. Okay, so full disclosure here. If you torch too much and you get this too hot, you'll see, look what I did. I melted it onto the copper. So the question is, can you use the Little Smith torch heads on the Gentec torch? So I don't know who asked that question, but whoever asked that question, actually I'm going to turn this off because we're done. If you're talking about this, I'm going to speculate yes. Okay. I don't have a 100% answer on that, but I'm pretty sure you can. Again, it could be very wrong there. Have to do a little bit of research to figure that one out. But anyway, so there it is. All right, so let's take a look in the pickle here and see about the other piece. So you can see the difference of the cold piece. So what's coming up this week? Jeff Hunter is going to make a second attempt to go live. I know some of you caught him live the other day as we were testing. So I'm pretty excited. I think the tests were successful. And we're going to see if he can go live on Wednesday. He's going to do a little bit of bold and opal cabbing. And I already know, you know, Jeff has not done this before and he's just starting out. So I'm going to support him, and I know the technology is not going to be perfect, but he's working on it, and that's all that counts, right? That's all that matters, is that he's working on it, and it'll give you all a nice overview of cabbing boulder opals. I don't do lap work, but I've been told that there's something very specific about what he's doing. I don't know. So, or very special about what he's doing. Okay, so there's my piece. I'm going to take Deborah's suggestion here and get a piece of heavier wire and see if that will help me. Oh yeah, okay. That should be better. No, it's not heavy enough. Okay, I need another. Let me try that again. Oh, the things we do. You know, the fun of going live. All right. Here's a piece of 16 gauge. Let's see if it fits through. Don't. Barely, but you know what? We're going to help ourselves here. Okay, so I guess this is not a bad thing that this is happening. I can show you how to fix it. Notice I'm just putting it in and working it just a little bit more to get that to open up just a hair, because it's just a hair. Or if I was really smart, I'd go pull out a a 56 drill bit to go with the 16 gauge, right? But no, we're going to do this the hard way. There we go. Okay, better. All right. Going to trim that nicely. And then we're going to trim the other side. Oh, I like Kathy's suggestion too. Put a jump ring in the hole and put a charm on it. You know, these are all different looks, and these are all great design ideas. So, yeah, you can totally do that. For me today, that would require me to go get a charm. Okay, there we go. All right. And riveting hammer has disappeared. Oops, there it is. And obviously I didn't drill it in the right spot either, but again, sort of a last minute decision to do this part of the demo. And we're flying with it, right? Okay, so there it is. 1, 2, 3. Actually, 1, 2, and odd 3. What happens, actually, let's talk about this for a second. What happens if you put it in and it actually really does look like this? How do you fix that? It's called cut it off. And again, this is where you want a really, really, really good flush cutter, like a pair of Lindstroms. We have it on our website. And you cut it off. And you try to push it out, right? That's how you would do it. Not even clear I could do it, but we're going to try for a second here. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to push this pin out. I trimmed off the splayed side. Aha! Look at that. Did you see that? That's how you do it. And we'll do it one more time. And again, what I just did was I trimmed the beveled edge and put this in. Okie dokie. So, try to balance that. Oh, so much better. Looks like crap on one side, but hey, one side looks pretty good. I would, of course, take the time and sand all that down to make it look nice. So there's a difference between doing it cold and then doing it hot. Two very different looks, but gets to the point, right? Okay. So, all done, all said. Any questions out there? If you do send it to me. Let me know. Hopefully, oh, and what else is happening this week? We have Wine on Wednesday. Is this Wednesday at 4:30 Eastern Time. The link will be posted here in about 40 minutes on the Q Talk on the Q Talk Facebook page. So if you'd like to join us, it's open for everybody. We're just hanging out, drinking, and celebrating the new year. On Friday, we have a Zoom along where everybody's just working at their bench. You know, again, just trying to create a little bit of community. There's so much going on in the next week that I decided that this week should be a relaxing week, because next week, of course, is metal immersion. So remember, just a reminder, on Monday we have Hot and Cold. One more time, it's the Tuxedo Project. And then next Wednesday, we're going to talk about setting up your workbench. It's sort of interesting. A lot of people in the new year are going to revise their workbench and set it up. And, you know, I find myself doing it all the time. So once again, over last weekend, I put in another shelf and reorganized this whole thing. Pretty happy with it. And every time I rework my workbench, I learn something new about how things should go and what makes it more functional, and it gets a little bit nicer. So hopefully we'll see you for that then. Okay, so someone just shared that the Gentec torch is Smith compatible. So the answer to, I can't remember who asked about the, Kathy, about the Smith working with the Gentec, the answer will be yes. However, you have to be careful, but wait, before we jump into that, okay? The torches are gas dependent, okay? Which means that those torch heads are made, the orifices are made specifically for acetylene or propane. So if you have an acetylene one, you cannot take it into the propane one. However, I did learn, because actually as much as I say this is a propane one, it isn't. or it is, but I use natural gas because I have it piped into my studio, okay? And so the natural gas and the propane one are interchangeable. They actually don't even list the natural gas at all because not very many people are doing it. I called Gentec and asked them which torch do I need for natural gas, and they're like, use the propane one. I'm like, oh, well, I wish somebody would just write it in there somewhere in the specs, but they don't. So there again, you cannot interchange acetylene with propane, but you can use propane and natural gas interchangeably. Been there, done it. I've actually taken this torch and put a propane tank to it. It works just fine, and brought it right back and put natural gas into it. So hopefully that's helpful to you. And by the way, I did write a short little blog on the qfomgray.com site about my experience with the natural gas and having it installed and having it piped in. And by the way, it's actually a fairly inexpensive way to go if you're looking at getting into the big tanks, not the little tanks, but the big tanks. And if you do get into this propane tank, at some point, if you decide to go down the road of natural gas, you can just switch it out. Okay, so the key to this system is that it comes with the adapter that goes on those small propane tank and oxygen tank cylinders, and that's the key there. So anyway, it's a special order on our website. It'll take about 2 to 3 weeks to turn around if you do place an order on it, just to let you know so that you don't get frustrated and whatnot. Metal immersion kits are being shipped out today and tomorrow, so everyone can have it in hand. It looks like post office is finally catching up. Woohoo! And that there should not be any issues on that. We're looking forward to Wine on Wednesday and the Zoom along this week. So look for it on the Q Talk Facebook page for the links, and you can absolutely join us. All these little events this coming week is free, so we'll see you then. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of Monday. Monday's crazy, always. We're starting to get snow outside, so I'm just going to hunker down and cozy up here and do the rest of your kits. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for liking our videos, and thanks for sharing, because it's really important to have those shares and those likes, and we appreciate everyone who has contributed financially to our videos, because this is what keeps us going and how we can continue to do what we're doing. The links are available in the comments, as Andy has posted them for me, and I will come back and put it in the description later. All right? Have a good one. Bye.